Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions. Thank you again for our time together. I want us to go today to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 17, the famous passage on the Lord's Supper. He opens with this verse. He said, "In the following directives I have no praise for you, for your meetings do more harm than good." Now, can you imagine looking at a church and saying, your services do more harm than good? Now just wrap your brain around that for a minute. The Apostle Paul looks at a church and says, your services do more harm to people's lives than they do good. But no buts. I mean, it's there. Your meetings do more harm than good. Now, brothers and sisters, we always have to ask ourselves the question, when we're having service, are we blessing people? Are we ministering to people? Or are we exploiting people? Are we helping people, or are we stumbling people? Are we abusing people, or are we edifying and building people up? Every leader, we have to ask ourselves that question every day of our lives. In your connect groups, does this meeting do more harm than good? When people come here, are they benefited? Do they grow? Are they edified? Are they built up? Or are they stumbled? He said, your meetings do more harm than good. Now, I had to be honest with you. I've been to some services like that in my life. I can remember one time showing up to preach in this church, and just before I stood up to preach, the pastor announced that he was leaving his wife, who was sitting on the right side of the front row of the church, and he was going to be moving in with his girlfriend, who was on the front row of the left side of the church. And he said, thank you for walking in love. I've taught you so much about forgiveness and love, and I just ask you to forgive me and accept me, that I'm just a man like all the rest of you. And then he looks at me, he said, now, Dr. Sumrall, would you come and speak? And I just looked at him and shook my head. I went, no. I don't want to speak. You don't want to hear anything I have to say. Now, I did get up and preach, and you know me, I stood up and taught the Word. I didn't attack people, but I stood up and taught the Word. We don't live like this. Leaders don't live like this. Now, I've been in places. I've been into big conventions where you walk through the elevators and you walk through the hallways of the hotel and you see the preachers and the speakers completely drunk. Bottles of wine in their hand, glasses in the other hand. And listen, I didn't grow up saved. They weren't happy. They were drunk. Those kind of meetings do more harm than good. You show up at a connect group and everybody's drinking. Does more harm than good. Whoa. You show up at a connect group and you're doing business with people and it's taking advantage of people, doing network marketing. You're doing more harm than good. Pastor, how can you always make sure you do more good than bad? Focus on Jesus. Just keep pointing people to Jesus. He will always do them good.